Greetings, 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 and thank you so much for joining Snapshot, home of the 15-minute selfie. It is where you get to do only you. Thank you so much. I am Marilyn Green, and like I said, you are in Snapshot. It's 15 minutes about you. So, guess what? Today, I have a fantastic, phenomenal, amazing, exceptional, intellectual. I'm going to go all the way there. And I didn't tell her this, but candy and flowers is something that I like anyway. I like some candy, and I love, love, love some flowers. So this person I got coming on here, my guest is the executive leadership and career transformation coach and speaker. Candi Flowers. I see her down there smiling and looking cute. I'm gonna bring her up. Hey, how are
Hi there.
you?
Hi there.
How are
Thank
you,
you.
Candi Flowers?
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to have you. Candi Flowers, you're executive leadership and career coach. You know, this is a time of the year that most people start to think about what do I want to do next year? You know, somebody's
Mhm.
getting on my nerves. I'm just tired of whoever, wherever, whenever, right? And
Mhm.
so this is the prime time to listen to what Candi Flowers has to say about doing what you do, transforming yourself. So, Candi, how did you start becoming Coach Candi?
Well, I will tell you and thank you again. So, Coach
Yeah.
Candy, actually, I began my coaching journey some time ago, but I have been in the coaching world and then I've gone back full time. So, my background is human resources,
Okay.
and I've worked in a variety of different companies. And my last role, I was head of HR for a small biotech company in Nashville.
Okay.
And, you know, at one point, just like you mentioned, there are times when we say, let me really rethink what's going on. And so that's what I had. I had that moment occur
Hmm.
in my life. And when it did, I said, let me get back to that which really helps me to utilize my greatest strengths. And that I get to spend my time doing the things that I love the most, which is really coaching.
Okay.
And in any role that I've been in within any organization, coaching is what I naturally gravitate towards. And it doesn't matter the level of the employee from the CEO on down to anyone within the organization. So I am grateful for this period of time in my life. It
Hmm.
was not an easy decision. So I don't want to put that out there. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was a decision that took a lot of courage. It was the right one for me to make, and it was the right one for my family. And so Coach Candy is here. And I
I
launched
love
my
it.
business in August. Yes.
Well, I love it. I love the words that really stuck with me is that the courage and
Hmm.
to strength, it wasn't easy. And anytime that you're transforming, I start to think about the butterfly that's coming out of that cocoon. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if it's hurting, but it's looking like it's hurting when it's trying to get out of there, right? And
Hmm.
so those are some of the things that you provide as far as soothing the person on
Yes.
how to really get out and be okay, right?
Mhm.
Is that something that you do? I mean, do you have a program, a plan, or how do you do that? Just give us the
Absolutely.
cute, the
Absolutely.
easy stuff. If you want to know the rest, you're just gonna have to get Miss Coach Candi. Okay, go for it.
Well, one of the things I will say is that when we work with coaches, the things that we want help with, we sort of know we have to do the work. The
Mhm.
individual has to do the work. What the coach does is I come alongside my clients and I help them figure out, or I help them navigate, I help them build out a plan of action.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to step back and peel back a few layers to understand what's going on internally. Now, I
Okay.
will say this: coaching is not counseling. Those are two different things.
Okay.
Um, but once you're able to do the work and understand why you want to change or why something is difficult that needs to adjust within your life, then as a coach, I help people figure that out. Then I help you build out a plan of action, and then I'm going to hold you accountable. So it's like
Oh,
any coach within sports, right? The coach isn't out there on the field playing. They're not on the field, they're not on the court, but they are right there guiding the players, calling the plays, and holding them accountable to, at the end of the day, win. And that's what coaches want their teams to do, is win. And as a coach, that's what I want my clients to do. I want them to win.
That's right. Now, you made a statement, coaching and counseling. Okay, give us a little bit about what's the difference, because somebody might come and say, hey, I need coaching, but I'm thinking a coach needs to counsel me sometimes, because I know in the locker room they counsel them and they'll be nice, okay, but they be going off on them. So the bottom line is, give me in your mindset, what's the difference for you that helps to guide and to shape your organization?
Absolutely. So counseling, and this, I'm speaking of counseling, I'm speaking of therapy, right? And I love the way, so my certification, I came through the CAP Institute, which is Valerie Burton's coaching and positive psychology. So I did my last certification through there 10 years ago. I love the way that Valerie actually helped us to understand it when we were going through the certification process. And she said, if you have a wound, right? Let's say you have a wound on your arm. And over time, it's going to begin to heal. And she said, if you touch that wound and it's still tender, it still hurts, you need counseling. There's still something there that you need to go and get some professional help to help you.
I love that.
But if you touch it and the scar is there and the scar has healed and you're ready to move forward, then that's when coaching comes in. Wow. And so I have had people come to me to say, listen, I'm going through this or that or whatever in life, and I just need someone to help me. And I can discern right away, you know what, you need some counseling, you need some therapy. Maybe we don't need coaching right now. Right. And listen, I'm not telling them what I think. I can tell them what I know, because even Coach Candi has to have a coach, and even Coach Candi has to go through counseling. So I understand that.
Yeah. And speaking of that, as you're being transparent, that's another thing that I think that coaching and counseling, we're not trying to intertwine them together, but coaching is about transparency too. And I love that part about, if it still hurts, you need some counseling. Okay. Yes. But if it don't hurt, you need some coaching, so that's great. I love the fact, because you have to assess where you are first, Candi. You can't, because everybody is not your client. Everybody is not ready for you.
Everyone isn't. They're not.
They're not at all. They're just not ready for you. Okay. Now, you also talked about earlier about your why statement. I already told you, full disclosure, about, I went there about the why. Okay. And I think you had about, I forgot how many, 5 whys. It's a bunch of whys. And when I say why, it's like asking the question, but why? But why? But why? But I think that is part of your strategy, because not only does Coach Candi use it or utilize it for her clients, she also uses it in her home. Okay. Yes. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know nothing about no little girls, but she got 4 of them. You guys, 4. And looking just pretty as a picture. Come on. Thank you. You're welcome. But the bottom line is, tell them about that why scenario, and that's when you're talking about coaching to me, and just saying, hey, I want to hold, they were holding you accountable. Tell us a story about it.
Yes, I will. So these are these 2 are now in college. But my two of my daughters, number 2 and number 3, they're now in college. But when they were little, about 5 and 6 years old, there was an issue that we had with them, just not wanting to keep the room clean. Every time I turn around, there's, stuff everywhere. And so I'll back up to say the 5 why process is a process that is utilized, I think primarily within Lean Six Sigma, or, I learned about it when I was in an HR role in a distribution organization. And so I learned about that process, and really it's, if you ask why 5 times, you will get to the root cause of a problem. Because sometimes we know that something is a problem, but we don't understand why. And you can't solve it until you can get to the root cause of it. And so with the girls, I just finally took them through the 5 why process to understand, in a way, they're kindergarten and 1st grade, right? So you had to do it in a way so they didn't know what mommy was doing. But at the end of the day, what I found out was, they were like, Mommy, you don't come in our room. Like when you come in here, you're fussing because the room isn't clean. You don't come tuck us in at night. Our friends, moms, they tuck them in at night. You don't read us bedtime stories. You just come in when the room is messy because you're fussing. And I had no idea that I was doing that. I'm
Wow.
thinking I'm being a great mom. I had no idea that it was impacting them. But by me asking why 5 times, that's where we landed. And so, yes, it was, embarrassing. I felt this big, but I had to change. And so I think a lot of times in life, I'll be honest with you, I had to utilize this process to determine, once I made my exit out of corporate America in August, to say, what am I going to do next? And I had to take myself through the process. And where I landed was, I understand vocational clarity. So I understand coaching is
I
something that I'm
love that.
called to
Vocational
do.
clarity. I better take some
Vocational
notes.
clarity. And so I
Okay.
understand it's what I'm called to do. I've always have done it. In,
Mhm.
in corporate America, outside of corporate America, owning my own business or whatever. Even as a child, I've always been coaching people and giving advice. I probably got on my little childhood friends' nerves, but I was always that person, that go-to person. I've been that way my entire life. And so, sometimes we have to understand, really, when there's a problem, when we're facing something in our roles or facing something in our life, really being open and honest and transparent. Because
Mhm.
sometimes doing the 5 whys, it doesn't always feel good. It does not always, and you can get on people's nerves. In my last position, I reported to the CEO, and I kind of had to sneak the process into her one time. And I know I aggravated her over text messaging. But there was a challenge that, we were facing in the organization.
Mhm.
And I could see kind of like, okay, here's where we need to land, but I needed her to get there. So I took her through the process and, of course, thanked her afterwards for letting me take her through. But
Right.
at the end of the day, when we need to fix things, or we need to solve for something, or we need to transform, it's good to understand why.
Yes. I love that. I really like that. I might have to make a phone call. Anyway, but let me she didn't gave out some great gems. Okay, let me show you, this is her email right there. Okay. And guess what else? She got a brand new spanking, okay, website. Her website was nice then, but I haven't had time to go there. I'm going again, okay? But
Thank you.
but nevertheless, I love giving my audience no excuse kits, and this is where she is. Now, the beauty of just the LinkedIn and the Facebook is that once this comes out, she's also going to put it in the comments. So you have no excuse and you can find her. And let me tell you something else that I love about her. Okay. That when we met 5 minutes, 10 minutes just talking down in Houston.
Mhm.
Okay. And we connected right then. I feel as though, and not only is she pretty, she's kind as well.
Thank
Okay. She's a very kind person. She's a believer. I mean, she is just that person that I would trust, that if I'm transparent, or just getting to the rawness of a thing, to say what is the reason why. For example, someone might ask you the question, they probably, why can't I keep a job? Then that's when you start to say, you better touch that soul. Is it so? Is it still sore? Okay. You know what I'm saying?
you.
So I'm thinking that that's when you start to saying, do I need a coach versus a counselor? Okay.
Mhm.
But and
Mhm.
and, and so they're gonna come with you with many different questions. So Candi, tell us, what is one of the questions that people often ask you? What if you just can think of one?
The one that I get the most, and some of the clients that I have now that I'm working with, they will come and say, Candi, I want to do something different.
Yes.
I want to make a change within my career, but I don't understand how. I have clients that maybe they have huge goals, but they don't necessarily know all the steps, or they may not have the confidence,
Ah,
to do it. The reason my company is named Executive Insight is
okay.
because in my last role, I was an executive. And so what I'm doing now is giving the insight,
Love it.
providing the insight to my clients and to those that I help from my almost 30 years of HR experience that I have, being able to do that and share with people from that perspective. So
Okay.
some of the clients, and of course, not only do I do, coaching with them, I do resume writing, so helping them rewrite their resume. I do a little bit of interview, coaching. I do that because I've, been responsible for leading talent acquisition teams
Okay.
in various roles. And so I can give that insight around, here's what you might want to take into consideration that the company might be looking for. So after we do a little bit of the work to understand the why, right? And I do get a lot of people that come to me and say, I want to be in human resources. I'd love to be in human resources. I'm like, well, let's really explore that so that you
Yeah.
understand what you're signing up for.
What you getting into? Right.
Right, right. But that's what I get. That's usually what I get. And from time to time, people will reach out and just say, hey, let me pick your brain for a minute and we'll have a few conversations. I have a way that, you can do that as well. You can click on a link and get a little time on my calendar. So
Yeah.
that's really what I get the most. People that want to change. And let me tell you something, and I'm not shy, about this. I turned 55 years old earlier this year. And
Mhm.
for me, I had to say, is this what I want to continue to do? When I sit back and look at my days and what they consisted of, working 10 to 12 hours a day, just really in a tough place, physically and emotionally,
Mhm.
that's not what I wanted to do. And so having the courage to walk away from that, it took a lot, but I needed to transform. And so as
Right.
I transform within my life, it is a joy to work with people who are wanting to transform in their lives as well.
Wow. You know what? It's a 15-minute selfie, and we down to like 5, 4, 3, something like that. But I love that was a perfect ending. Okay, I love it, Candi. Thank you. It has been such a joy to
Thank
have
you.
you on. And I'm excited about this because I can see you moving people to their next.
Thank you.
Okay, that's what
Thank
it's
you.
all about. Move them to the next. But hey, you guys, my little timer is going off, and I promise you 15 minutes. And guess what? You're on Snapshot Home in a 15-minute selfie. Well, guess what? This is what you get to do. It's where you get to do only you. Thank you so much, Candi Flowers, for coming on. And we're going to say goodbye for now. And Candi, you take care of yourself and keep on moving those people to their next. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much. Bye bye.